Hello, welcome to Jason Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. Today's video, I wanted to catch up on some things that I've been watching, or I have watched somewhat recently and haven't reviewed on the channel. And I've been doing a lot of 5-minute reviews on the channel to try to catch up with different things I've watched and just give quick reviews on those things. But I have so many stuff that I want to talk about that I thought maybe I'll do a video where I cover a bunch of them. Instead of doing one 5-minute review, I'll do just try to get a bunch of them in one video just to kind of catch up a little bit on what I've been watching. And yeah, and I can do some more 5-minute reviews on some more recent stuff. But so this is some stuff that came out maybe a year ago or so that I've got around to watching on Netflix or something and kind of wanted to talk about on here. Yeah, so I'm gonna get to some of this stuff here. One movie I want to talk about is called To Leslie, which came out a year ago. I guess it was 2023. Little known movie, not a big movie by any means. What I got known for was that I got an Oscar nomination for Best Actress for Andrea Riseborough, I believe her name is. Actress I'm not familiar with, but I remember she got nominated for an Oscar, and it was like kind of controversial because she was kind of nowhere talked about or nowhere in sight when it came up to Oscar buzz for Best Actress, it seemed like. And then all of a sudden on Oscar day, her name was announced. I remember being like a big surprise, like, who's Andrea Riseborough and what is To Leslie? Like, what is this movie? And it was somewhat controversial because of the way I don't quite understand what happened, but the way she was campaigned and got in, I guess didn't technically break any rules, but it definitely felt like they didn't like it, and so they've changed the rules around. From what I understand, like some of her friends in the industry campaigned real hard for her to get an Oscar nomination, which I don't know why that's a problem, but something in there. Again, I don't quite understand it, but for whatever reason, they felt like it was a little underhanded, I guess, a little sneaky, a little, I don't know, again, I say not against the rules, but almost felt like it should be, I guess, the way they got her into the Best Actress. A lot of people were upset because they felt like there was other actresses that deserved it more, that didn't get into, the only 5 slots that they get for Best Actress. So that was a big controversy over the whole thing. But I wanted to watch it to see, did she deserve to get in that slot? And the movie itself, I thought was actually pretty good. I was kind of pleasantly, like, I didn't have any expectations, but overall, I kind of actually enjoyed the movie. It's about this lady played by Andrea Riseborough, who's an alcoholic, been alcoholic for a while. She really has nowhere to live. She has a son, but they're estranged because she was not a good mother because of her addiction. And she, burned a lot of bridges with family and friends. And anyway, so it kind of follows her. She's trying to, get her life back together. And she even tries to get back with her son, but then she can't, every time she tries to, make good with her son, but her son's like, you can't drink anymore. You can stay with me, but you can't drink anymore. And that same day she goes out and drinks and gets drunk, and then he has to kick her out, So it's like, man, and she's so manipulative and so acts nice, like, oh yeah, I'll never do it again. And then when she messes up, she's like, oh, she makes excuses. She never owns up to that she has a problem, which I think is very realistic to real life, which I kind of thought, wow, this is a really good look at, what people that are addicted are like. Not that I've been around a lot of it, but working in the hospital, I do deal a lot with people that are withdrawing from alcohol or drugs, and there's certain people that I see a lot come through the hospital time and time again, like they just can't get their act together and they're back, and you're like, oh man, you're back, like, you know, and they just can't help it. It's this addiction that really ruins your life. And so I think it was a pretty good depiction of like how alcohol addiction, all that can ruin your life, like this lady in this movie. But yeah, and it happens with her friends. She's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stop drinking. And then no, she still drinks and she burns another bridge. And so she's a very unlikable character too. I mean, she's very mean. She curses people out. She's always angry. Like I said, she never owns up to her faults, it seems like, but makes excuses, blames other people, you know. So you're like, wow, like you don't want to like her, but at the same time, I guess you understand, like, oh, she's got this problem that she can't get rid of, this addiction, and it's not her, it's the addiction that's doing everything. The movie does get to a good place. Another really good performance is Marc Maron, who's known as a stand-up comedian and podcaster. Gives a really good performance here as like a hotel, like a small motel, like owner, manager, who gives her a job in house cleaning. And even though she keeps messing up, he keeps giving her another chance because he really wants to help her out and see her get through this, you know. And you do see it at the end. She does kind of get over this, you know, alcohol addiction and finally gets her life together. It takes a while, but finally gets there. So it's a good, happy ending to the story. And I'll say this, Andrea Riseborough, amazing performance. To me, I would have given her the Oscar. That's how far I thought it was. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, she totally deserved an Oscar nomination. I thought she was even better than Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone, who were kind of the front runners. Like, I watched it, I thought, wow, she really felt like she really was, you know, this woman who was suffering from this addiction, you know. So hats off to her. I definitely love to see more of her and stuff. So overall, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a recommendable movie to Leslie, which I saw on Netflix, so it might still be on there if you catch it. So if you do catch it, I would recommend it. Another movie that was an Oscar contender kind of for some categories last year was a movie called May December, which was a Netflix movie starring Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, kind of two main actresses. And this was kind of an interesting movie. Like I said, an interesting title too, May December, but it's loosely based on a true story, I found out. Kind of about this woman played by Julianne Moore, who was a teacher who had had an affair with a younger student, and it was, you know, super controversial. Of course, she got fired, and but then they end up getting married and having kids. So the relationship ended up working out, even though it's a horrible thing, you know. To be someone in like a teacher having a relationship with students, very unethical, all kinds of wrong, dealing with someone who's younger than you, that's like a, young teenager or whatever, totally wrong, totally. But then they end up being together, and this was based on a true like kind of event where a teacher did have an affair with a younger student, but they end up staying together. And in the movie, Natalie Portman plays an actress who's playing the Julianne Moore's character in a story about this story. Anyway, so it's like this meta, like she's an actress playing an actress who's staying with the family to get to know the family better. So when she portrays the Julianne Moore's character in her own movie, she'll have a good depiction. It's one of those things where actresses or actors trying to get to know a part, hang out with the people that they're trying to portray to better understand them and to portray them, do research, I guess, in other words. So it but the only problem is as she, is, seeing, how the family is and asking them questions about the whole situation, it digs up a lot of bad memories and kind of further, there's definitely big problems in this family. They try to act like, oh, everything's fine, it worked out in the end, but then you find out that no, the guy who married Julianne Moore, who's much younger than her, has some problems with the whole thing. He's having his own doubts about it and issues with, dealing with it. And, her kids by her first husband, because she cheated on her first husband, they aren't very happy with the whole situation, as it would be in real life. And so you do uncover all these, problems. And Natalie Portman's character is doing some unethical things as well, getting to know the family better, let's say. And overall, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of this movie, and I've heard some people give it like a top 10 favorite movies of the year kind of thing. I do like the performances, the actors. Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, very good. The guy, I'm forgetting his name. He got a lot of Oscar buzz for Best Supporting Actor, but ended up not getting nominated. You know, he did a good job. I don't know. It's just kind of an icky story dealing with, you know, relationships with younger people and, you know, and how terrible of a thing that is. So it's kind of icky, gross, you know, and the characters are very unlikable. Like, I never liked any of the characters really, except for maybe the guy who finally kind of decided that he kind of realized that, oh, maybe I was manipulated into this relationship and, you know, this was all bad and I shouldn't be in it. Besides that, the Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman characters, really unlikable characters. They do some bad things in the movie and totally manipulative themselves. And you see in lots of situations where like, wow, that's not, these are terrible people. Yeah, and it never really ends. It kind of ends suddenly and not very satisfactory. Like at the end, it's just like, oh, these people are not better off. They're all terribly off. And in the end, Natalie Portman's going to play her in this movie, and she acts like, oh, she really, because of her experience being with this family and seeing how their family works in the situation, she's a better actress in this performance. And you kind of end that way, but I don't know. I'd give it like 2.5 stars. It was just, I can't recommend it personally. It just, I don't know. Like I said, not a very good ending and didn't like the characters, so I can't recommend May December personally. All right, movie I just caught, I just happened to see that there's this movie called The Last Kumite. And if you know Kumite, it's in the Bloodsport series of movies. Bloodsport, which I own on DVD, is one of my favorite action movies, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, his first like big starring role. It's a fun, cheesy action movie with some good fight scenes. And they go to, I forget, some country in Asia, like China or something like that, and they fight in the Kumite, which is this, you know, they bring fighters from all around the world with different fighting styles, and they hurt each other really badly, basically, on this mat. And that's the name of the tournament. It's called the Kumite Tournament. They've done some, I've seen a couple times, they've done some sequels to it. Nothing's never been as good as the original Bloodsport. I mean, you're never going to beat that original Bloodsport. It's one of a kind. It's so good. Even though it's cheesy, you know, not the best maybe performances, not the best writing, but man, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that movie. And so, I don't know, anytime I see something like, oh, they're going to do another sequel to it, I'm like intrigued. Like maybe they'll find the right, you know, formula to make a good sequel. And boy, I was wrong on this one. This is one of the worst movies I've seen this year. It was horrible. Yeah, they kind of bring back this whole Kumite thing with this really bad storyline of this really rich guy who kind of blackmails fighters to come fight in this Kumite. It's like he's bringing back the Kumite. Like Kumite hasn't been fought in a while, and he wants to bring back this, you know, and he brings, of course, the whole thing is you get rich people betting on these fights, and that's how he makes money. So he wants to make, it's like an underground, secret thing only rich people go to, and they bet on these fighters. But he makes these, but yeah, like I said, he blackmails these fighters by kidnapping family members. The main actor in this movie, his daughter gets kidnapped, and so he's forced to fight in the Kumite, or, you know, he's not gonna get his daughter back, so that's his motivation. But it's the same motivation for all these other characters. So they're all kind of, you feel sorry for all of them because they're all forced into the situation. There's only like one character that's like the champion who is like hired by the main bad guy to win this tournament. So he's obviously like the main villain that the good guy's gonna have to fight at the very end and all this. But yeah, it's definitely like really bad dialogue, really bad acting. And they even brought back Cynthia Rothrock into this movie, and she like plays like this, like almost like this mentor character who's going to mentor the main good guy, you know, and how to fight in the Kumite. And I used to watch her back in the 80s. She had some, you know, again, they're not great movies. They're just kind of these silly, you know, action 80s movies. But I had some fun with some Cynthia Rothrock back in the day. She's now much older, of course, and man, she cannot act. I'm sorry. And she wasn't, I thought she was fine when she was younger as an actress, but like as an older actress, like, I don't know, she gave like one bad performance. Like, I was like, wow, it did not work well. She has not been in the limelight for a while. There's another guy that they had, and I'm forgetting his name now. It's like Billy something. And he's a guy that I know he's done some action, I think. He does exercise videos, I mostly know him for. And he actually still looks, he's older, he actually looked pretty good in the movie, like he still could fight. And he was another mentor character. So it was kind of cool that they brought back some like people from the past that, have been in action movies, try to give this movie some credit. But the biggest problem is the main guy. The main guy just does not have the charisma or the look that you need in an action guy, like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme looked amazing. He was rippled. His fighting style was amazing. I mean, he looked like he could really take anybody on. He's so athletic and so flexible. His kicks are amazing, and he just was a good on-screen presence. This guy definitely was like not an actor, really well-known actor. I think he was more of like this guy that maybe more of a stunt guy that they decided to give the lead role to, and he really couldn't carry the movie. Like I said, it's a little known movie. It was a very cheap looking movie. Like they probably didn't spend much money on it, because there's nobody big really in it that I remember. So like I said, Cynthia Rothrock might be the most famous person on the movie. So they got a lot of actors on the cheap probably, and extras and all this, and fight scenes didn't really look that good. And like I said, the lead actor, he just looked too skinny. Like he didn't look that muscular. He was just like, he was in good shape, I guess, but it's like, man, I need someone that looked a little cooler in the main character, someone I can really believe in, that could beat up and take on a lot of different, villain characters, And so to me, it was like, oh, it was a bad lead character. And it was just bad fight scenes. And yeah, it was just, again, like I said, you probably never heard of this movie. I just happened to catch it. I won't say where I caught it, but I caught it on a website, and I was very disappointed. So I give it a 0.5 star. One of the worst movies of the year, The Last Kumite. Another movie I really did not like, a movie looked like a cool action movie that turned out to be a real dud, was Monkey Man. And I remember this being advertised like the next like John Wick or something. And I remember being kind of interested in it because I saw like the trailer, and it's like, wow, it looks like it's set in India. It's Dave Patel, who's, pretty well-known Indian actor. And it's his director debut. And it's like, and the trailer looked kind of cool. Like, okay, there's some cool action scenes. It seems, like a John Wick style to it. Then I caught it, and it was a boring movie, super boring movie. Hardly any action in it. There's a couple action scenes here and there, and then at the very end, there's like a big maybe action sequence, if I remember right. The cinematography at first I thought was kind of cool. Like they did a lot of cool camera tricks. But after a while, I kind of got tired of all the camera movements. Where they moved the camera a little too much, I think at times, where I was like, okay, I'm a little disjointed in the scene. And to me, Dave Patel was not very good as an action guy. And he's not. He's just, he's never done action that I've never known. He's really just a normal, does comedy, does drama. He's a good actor. He's been nominated before, in fact. I think I know he's been nominated for Best Actor, maybe even. So I don't mind that, and I don't mind, training. Like, you can take a good actor and train them and make them look good in an action, but. My main problem is just he looked too skinny. Again, I have a problem with these guys that, okay, let's make this guy an action star. And it's like, to be an action star, you got to bulk up a little bit. I'm sorry, but that's why 80s was, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone duking it out in the box office, because they're too muscular. And like I said, Jean-Claude Van Damme, you need big muscular guys, I think, to make good action movies. And I can't take these skinny guys and try to think, oh yeah, I believe they can beat up a bunch of people. And in fact, there was a lot of scenes where he got his butt kicked. I could there's a lot of scenes where he's like competing like in a 1-to-1 fighting tournament or something, and he gets his butt kicked time and time again, he gets beat up. He wears like a monkey mask for some reason. And the whole movie is, of course, not in English, so it's hard to follow for me. And yeah, and it was just super slow and boring. I'd give it a half a star. I thought it was one of the worst movies I've seen this year. Anyway, so yeah, Monkey Man, another one I would not recommend. I'll now cover one more movie on this video I saw the other day called The Killer. Another movie that came out last year. I finally caught on Netflix recently, and I thought I heard some decent reviews on it. It didn't look that interesting, but it's on Netflix. I'm like, oh, I'll check it out. Maybe there's some cool action sequences or whatever. Because the guy, the main actor now, I didn't write down anything, so I'm trying to do this by memory, but I can't remember the main actor's name. He's a very good actor, though. I really like the actor. But he plays like a hitman who goes on a hit at the very beginning of the movie, which takes like 30 minutes of the movie. I feel like it takes forever. And it's a lot of just, it's supposed to be like almost, I think, more realistic of like how a hitman is, which is it's not very fun. It's a pretty boring job. You just sit around and wait for, you sit in a building all night with a sniper gun waiting for your target. Sorry, I can't talk all of a sudden. You're just waiting for your target to come in to shoot him. And so there's a lot of downtime in the movie where the main actor is not doing anything but waiting for a target. But then he misses his target, and then he has to be on the run because he knows the police are going to be after him. So he has to get out of the country. And then he gets double-crossed and all this. And now he's trying to figure out who double-crossed him. The whole movie is basically him trying to figure out who double-crossed him. And yeah, the movie, again, was just really boring. The main character doesn't hardly talk. It's one of those characters where it's like, he's not a talker. And so it's just a lot of silence in the movie. And he's supposed to be very intense, very serious. But he's very good at his job. And, and he knows to be patient. That's I think there's a lot of inner monologue, if I remember right. He inner monologues a lot, about, having to be patient, and not, and that's how you survive and all this stuff anyways. And then, yeah, then he starts going after people, and I never understood who the bad guy was or who he was going after, but he kept, coming across people who didn't seem like bad people, but I guess had some connection to, the double cross, and he would murder them, just senselessly murder them. And I just kind of felt myself going, gosh, I really, these people don't seem like that bad that he's murdering, and I'm supposed to say, this guy's the guy I'm supposed to, I'm supposed to root for. Like, I couldn't root for him because I just felt like he murdered a lot of people that didn't feel like they needed to be murdered. Like, it felt like he was a bad guy. And I was following this bad guy. I mean, maybe everybody were bad guys, but he definitely wasn't a good guy that I really wanted to root for. So it really killed the whole movie for me, just watching, going, gosh, like, I feel bad for these people. I'm like, did he really need to kill that person? Like, I feel like he didn't need to kill these people. And he finally gets to like the main guy and doesn't even kill him. I'm spoiling it, but he's like, if you do something again, I'll, kill you, and he kind of threatens him, and then he leaves, and that's the end of the movie. And I'm like, that's it? Like what was the purpose of this whole movie? And who were all those people he killed? I don't know. So I'd give it 1 star, I guess. Like I said, the main actor is good, but the overall story, I did not care for. And it was kind of just a boring, nothing movie. Really hardly any action in anyway. So yeah, again, another movie I didn't care for. The Killer, which I caught on Netflix as well. So there's a couple movies there for you, some reviews just to get those out of the way. And I'll go back to doing more 5-minute reviews of more recent movies that came out anyway. So besides that, tell me what you think about these movies. Have you heard of them? Have you seen them? Did you like them? Yeah, anything I'd like to see in the comments, and I'll comment back. And I appreciate that. And just thank you to everybody that watches this video. Thank you for liking it. And thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all.